If you are in your late 20s or 30s and you feel like you have missed the boat, I need you to listen to me very carefully. You are not failing. You are just running a different algorithm. The anxiety you feel isn't because you are slow. It's because you are playing a much longer game than the people you are comparing yourself to. See, in computer science, there is a concept called the Exploration-Exploitation Trade-off. It says that to win a game, you first have to spend a lot of time just running around, testing things, and losing. That is called exploration. So most people try to skip this. They want the win immediately, but today, I'm going to show you why skipping the mess is actually a mathematical error. The people you are jealous of, the ones who got the big job or the marriage at 22, they skipped exploration. They went straight to exploitation. They found a small hill of success, what mathematicians call a local maximum, and they set up camp there. But here is the trap. Once you settle on that small hill, you can't leave. You are too scared to go back down. Imagine a graph with two peaks. One is small, one is massive. The 22-year-old manager climbed the small peak. They look successful. They have the title. They have the car. But they are stuck. To get to the massive peak, the global maximum, they would have to walk all the way back down into the valley of uncertainty. And most people won't do that. Their ego won't let them. You feel lost right now because you are still in the valley, but you are the only one with the potential to reach the global maximum. The science says you can only find that highest peak by spending your 20s being confused. This is what society gets wrong. They look at your resume, your gap years, your failed projects, and they call it instability. But an algorithm calls it data collection. You cannot find the best path without testing the wrong paths first. If you commit to a career or a life path too early before you have gathered enough data, you are statistically guaranteed to land on a mediocre outcome. You aren't behind. You are buffering. You are gathering the necessary inputs to solve a complex problem. The late bloomer isn't late. They are just thorough. There is another reason you are built to peak later. It's your hardware. We used to think the brain stopped developing in childhood. We were wrong. There are two types of smarts. Fluid intelligence is raw processing speed. That peaks when you are young. That's why 20-year-olds are good at quick, reactive tasks. But crystallized intelligence, that is the ability to recognize patterns, connect dots, and use wisdom, doesn't even start to peak until you are in your late 30s, 40s, and 50s. The biggest decisions in life, who to marry, what business to build, how to lead, require crystallized intelligence. If you had tried to build your empire at 22, you would have built it on speed. Now you can build it on wisdom. That is a structurally superior building. So how do you use this? You need to stop panicking and start analyzing your position. Here's the framework. First, ask yourself, am I at a local maximum? Am I comfortable but bored? If yes, you need to force yourself back into exploration mode. You need to be willing to look like a beginner again. Second, if you are already in the mess, if you are trying things and failing, stop calling it failure. Label it high variance sampling. You are crossing things off the list. Third, recognize the signal to switch. When you find something that uses your unique mix of skills you only got by wasting time in your 20s, that is when you switch to exploit mode. That is when you go all in. Biology backs this up too. Neuroscience tells us about prefrontal cortex myelination. This is the insulation of your brain's wiring. It helps you regulate emotions, focus on long-term goals, and control impulses. This process often isn't fully finished until you are nearly 30. Think about that. You literally did not have the biological hardware to maximize your potential until recently. Trying to make it before your brain was finished is like trying to run high-end software on a computer that is still being built. So, take a breath. The shame you feel about being a late bloomer, that is just social conditioning. It's not a biological reality. You haven't wasted your time. You have been building a complex database of experiences that the early peakers simply do not have. The world is full of people who peaked early and are now quietly desperate, stuck on their little hills, looking at the mountain you are about to climb. They can't move. You can. The explore-exploit math is clear. The highest rewards go to those who dare to explore the longest. Your timeline isn't broken. It's optimized for a higher peak. But there is a danger here. You can't explore forever. Eventually, you have to choose. You have to commit. The hardest part isn't the exploring. It's knowing the exact moment to stop searching and start building. Most people miss that signal. They explore until it's too late. So I want to know where you are on the graph. Tell me in the comments, are you still exploring or are you ready to exploit? If you are ready to find your peak, subscribe. We are just getting started.